I have a general relation to space, and it's always the first thing I think of. I look at a space, and I put things in it, I use objects, I move in the space, and I develop it. I've been in this loft since 1974. The factories had just recently been deserted, so artists were moving in, and it was a little bit dangerous. You had to be careful when you were out at night on the street. When we moved in, it was very cheap to live here, almost nothing. As businesses moved in, like fashion places, it got more expensive. I liked it better in the old days. The space looks completely different now because before, none of these structures were in it. When I first moved in here, it was one big open space. When I began performing publicly in the late 60s and early 70s, there was no support from institutions. So these spaces were the only places for performances. I set up projections. All my video pieces were done in this space. There's always objects in the first pieces that were things that I had collected. All my life, I've been going to antique stores and finding things. I don't have any rules or boundaries. I'm just always looking for strange, interesting things. I work a lot with sound, and I collect instruments. Most of them are bird calls in different kinds. There's a stone that I found in Canada that I use to make dog drawings with as a template. I made a piece drawing around objects and making a drawing. Collecting is just, what do I like? And then sometimes, how could I use that? The mirror was my first prop, and I made several different works using mirrors. I made a mirror dress, and I made a performance. The mirror does certain things. It distorts. It reflects the whole space behind you. I was working with my first video piece, Organic Honey. In the first version, I hit the mirror with a hammer and broke it. The second one, I hit it with a spoon. A spoon that was my grandmother's, a big silver spoon. It just evolved. The first mask I used was just a plastic mask I got on 42nd Street in an erotic store. I was not an experienced performer, so I liked, at the beginning, to often have my face covered or to use it as a disguise, to become a different persona. You move in a different way if you have a mask on. Very early, I decided to make a piece about a cone because I was also interested in form and how to work with form. And for a few years, I was working with paper cones, different sizes, different lengths, and I used them to speak through, to look through. And then I decided to make the cones out of metal. The sticks that I use a lot, they have a relationship to your body. They can indicate distance. In the outdoor piece, Song Delay, there's a section where they walk in a pattern, around a circle of stones. It's about form and finding ways to move. When I started working with video, the dog was there. And really, I use what is at hand. And so it made sense the dog, part of my life, steps into the picture and becomes a performer. Animals have far more intelligence and perception than we've given them credit. And so we have to pay attention now to what we're doing to other creatures. I had to relate it to the idea of mythology. The animal enters into your life and is like a force that takes you through. When I started working with kites, I didn't make them so that I could fly them in the wind. They're beautiful objects. I like the idea that wind, my very first piece, has a relationship to this latest work with kites. I like to work in the wind, recording video where things are blowing and it animates things. And in that piece, it was very lucky it was a windy day. You can't control the wind. I don't know how the object will function until I actually physically bring it into something. Play means you try different things. It's a large part of our method and structure and procedure. And it is childlike, yes. It's about improvising and trying things out and working in relation to each other and experimenting.